Hi there, I am Candace, and I wanted to talk to you today about a book that has completely taken over my life, and that is The Alienist by Caleb Carr. Now, this is being turned into a TV series on TNT. I believe it premieres next week, which is why I wanted to do a video before the TV show premieres. Now, it's almost a 500-page book. It's actually a pretty big read, and font is tiny, but it goes by really quickly, so you still have time to finish it, or at least get a start on it, so that if you want to read along as you're watching the show, you still have plenty of time to do that. I think there's going to be 10 episodes in the first season. I don't know if the first season is going to be it and it's just going to cover the whole thing, or how this is going to go. The commercials for the show are not divulging a lot of information, which is awesome. I love it whenever they don't give you too much of a heads up as to what's happening. But I went ahead and read the book, so now I'm about halfway through the book, little bit more than halfway through the book. So now I have these grand expectations for the show that hopefully it lives up to, and all of the actors, which are amazing, even though one of them has a very heavy task ahead of him, and that would be I think the main character, who's not actually the narrator for the book, but Dr. Laszlo Kreisler, is the alienist. So alienist, and the book explains this right in the beginning, is basically that era, late 1800s, early 1900s, term for a psychiatrist, because at that time, the mass population believed for the insane to be alien of both society and themselves, their minds, out of their minds. See, that works. And he has these very kooky theories. They're not very kooky, but basically, like, the average person, politicians, the police, just can't get on board with it. So he's brought in often for cases to determine whether or not a criminal is sane enough to stand trial. But beyond that, he's not a very respected dude. So the commissioner, who is none other than Theodore Roosevelt, the city's police commissioner, was friends with him, knew him back in Harvard. He pulls him onto the case of this morbid, just terrible murder, just absolutely terrible. Pulls him onto the case secretly and helps him create this task force. Now, the story is being narrated by one of Kreisler's friends, which is a crime reporter from the New York Times, and his name is Moore. So we see all of this through Moore's eyes, which I find very helpful, because he's kind of like the everyman of this story. Like, the thing that he supposedly brings to the table, to the team, is his knowledge of criminal activity and some of the other things that have gone on in the law and some of the corruption. But honestly, it seems like he doesn't play as big of a part as some of the other team members. But I have a theory as to what his actual role is, because every member of the team kind of has their own place in the team and their own way of contributing to the investigation. So I have a theory of what his role is, but I'm not going to say it because I want people to be able to read it and take it on their own. So anyways, one of the biggest things about this book that I love is that we get to see the beginnings of a lot of investigative techniques and psychological theories that were not common in that time, such as nature versus nurture. You know, someone being born evil, or were they created that way in their infancy or early childhood? How much does that really have to play on a person? And it's also done in the times around the Ripper killings and Dr. H.H. Holmes. And those are referenced quite often in this book as they have a lot of their reading from the Dr. H.H. Holmes investigation, and he is actually, during the time that the story is being told, he is awaiting his execution. And I believe it's Moore was actually in Europe, or he did some writing in relation to the Ripper killing, so he has a lot of insight on that as well. Again, his contributions are kind of like wishy-washy at best, but I think his role is important. If anything, he helps to dumb down some of the information from us, from this doctor and this, like, these intensely smart people, and I'm just like, I don't know what they're talking about. And he also describes the city and, you know, the different crime families that are involved, which are very, very helpful. I think having this crime reporter as the narrator was so smart. And being that I did used to write news articles, I related to him. But with that, so that's the biggest thing that I like about the ongoing theme. And also just questioning what is evil. You know, they bring up a lot in the book that everybody kind of acts on their own accord, and just the idea of survival and whatever they need to do to survive. Everybody acts in their own best interest, and that's kind of like on a scale of your own perception and of your own experiences. So it's very interesting. You start to question your own behaviors, and yeah, a lot of reflection going on in my own head by the character development. So as you may have seen, the show features Dakota Fanning as one of the main characters, and I can already tell you she is my favorite character in the book. And it's not just because she's a lady, and yes, I probably would naturally gravitate more to a female lead character, but I think her character has the most the most evolution in this book, as she is trying to break a lot of glass ceilings. She's having to deal with a male-dominated world at a time where ladies wore dresses and they gossiped over tea, and, you know, not much else was expected, and she's really trying to break through that while at the same time experiencing a lot of just garish things. Oh my God. I don't know how they're going to adapt this for television, because when I tell you it's dark, it gets very dark. It gets very real, very quick. If you have but anyways, I digress. She has to deal with a lot of these instances for the first time, and the men in the story have had like an inkling of it. You know, we got the detective, we got the doctor, we got the crime reporter, so they're already pretty aware, and they handle it in their own way, and she does too, in a way that's pretty surprising to the guys, but not all that surprising because they've already seen her personality. But they're still kind of like taking a careful watch of her, not really overprotective, but just like, you know, kind of, if she needs us, she'll let us know, but we're gonna take care of her a little bit, but not too much, because trust me, this gal can handle her own, and she proves that early on in the book. The only problem that I have with the book so far is that there seems to be a lot of very convenient circumstances that occur where a character, and I'm trying not to give too much away, that's why I'm doing this like mid-book review, so I don't really give too much away, or I can't because I don't know the end yet. But there's a lot of very convenient points in the plot to where somebody is magically saved, and, you know, there was about to be some gruesome stuff happening, and oh look, someone just so happened to be in this part of New York City at that time and is a friend, and I don't terribly love that. I'd kind of rather just the terrible thing to happen rather than coincidence take hold of the situation. But anyway, other than that, the book is amazing, and I highly suggest that you pick it up and you at least read along with the show, or try to get as much read before the show. TiVo it, I don't know, but you have to read the book. It's so good. I'm buddy reading it with my girl Deandra, who is in Colorado right now, and I haven't seen her in years, but she saw that I was reading it on my Instagram, and I love that she picked up the audiobook. She said that the audiobook it's amazing. She said that the person who voices it throws their voice for the other characters, so it's not like monotonous hearing the same voice throughout it all, because there is a lot of dialogue through this book. I feel like sometimes I'm ping-ponging as I'm reading it, because they have these really in-depth discussions as they're trying to basically paint the picture of what this killer looks like, who he is, what his personality is, how he grew up. And this was at a time before profiling or even before fingerprinting became a big deal. And they go into that in the book as well. But I'm so happy that she's listening, reading to it along with me, and we're just texting each other. And she actually just called me not too long ago and had to get some stuff out there before she went and got her coffee. So I'm so happy. It's just another way to reconnect with an old friend. But I want everyone to go and pick this up. Again, it's The Alienist by Caleb Carr, and it is amazing, and I cannot wait to watch the show. I think it's going to be awesome. And I need to come up with more, oh gosh, that was going to be a terrible sentence. I need to come up with better adjectives for my videos. So just to explain a little bit of my surroundings right now, if you've made it this far, thank you. This is my first video, so I appreciate you watching it. But I am in the process of moving, and all of my stuff has been packed up and shipped out. The movers have already came and gotten it all. So if this is echoey, I'm sorry. If the background is super boring, I'm sorry about that too. I'll have a better one whenever I get to the house, and hopefully my husband has already set everything up for us. Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. But yeah, so that's why everything is super stark behind me, and this is an air mattress. I'm basically just like living in my living room now, and this is my cat, Sir Clive. He's very lazy. He has no time for any of my antics. But anyways, it has been so awesome to film this for you, and if you've read the book, if you want to read the book, please leave me a comment. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I feel like being very engaging, because that's why I wanted to start making these videos anyway. And let me know what you're reading, any TV shows or movies adapted from books. I love doing that. Reading those so I can go back and watch it later and just get to relive the experience all over again. But let me know what you're reading, and maybe I'll pick it up, because I have a long drive ahead of me and I need some audiobooks. But thanks again, and have a great day.